What up? What up? What up? Happy Friday, y'all. What's going on? Whoop, whoop. Is everybody feeling good today? It's Friday. It's Friday. Having a good time. Welcome to Audra Unplugged every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Man, my day got away from me, and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like 4 o'clock in the fucking afternoon on a Friday. How did this happen? I put all my makeup on. I got ready for Audra Unplugged to go and kill it. And man, it has just been like a non-stop day, which I love non-stop days. Kind of keeps me going. How's everybody doing out there? We are talking about some legit shit. And let me tell you, if I'm speaking to you, you know who you are, then this is it's gonna be good for you. It's gonna blow your mind. You know, and I thought about like, God, what a weird topic for a Friday. Because, you know, everybody wants to talk about, like, cool shit on a Friday and going out and drinking and eating and dancing and smoking and all the crazy shit we like to do on the weekends. And I'm sitting here going, are you struggling with binge eating? Because I can help you with that. If you're struggling, do you even know what binge eating is? Do you know what it can lead to? Do you know what it creates? Do you know where... Do you go to your gym or your personal trainer with your binge eating problems and they're just like, just use some willpower and use some discipline? And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about binge eating. We're going to talk about what it is and what the real problem is, what the real thing is, because it's not what you think it is. And I mean that not in a bad way, y'all. I really don't mean this in a bad way. I mean this in a way that, like, I have been in the fitness industry for a long time. I mean, I'm sort of still in it a little bit. I teach fitness, sort of. But from owning my fitness company to all the work I did, I mean, teaching, I mean, it's been 24 years, 25 years at this point. And always, I remember when I had my fitness company, and I had already had like a, degree in kines, and I'd studied holistic nutrition at Bowman College, all of this work, and people would come to me like, I can't stop eating, like I'm binging on the food. And I just remember back then it was a hard question because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know like what really the answer was, because in full truth and open honesty, I was binge eating like crazy back then as well. I would say, well, we'll talk about what binge eating is, because my relationship, my dad just showed up. I don't think he binge eats. Hi, Daddy. Good to see you. That was fun. So binge eating, let's talk about this. Oh, wait, I was talking about my experience. So yes, I used to be a full-on binge eater. I learned how to do this in high school, and I kept doing it. And I remember just how intensely out of control it felt. And then starting a fitness company, y'all, in Silicon Valley, I had like 5 locations rocking, and we were killing it. And that, just the stress of that and everything else, it's like the stress of needing to be perfect. And it was crazy. And I literally couldn't stop binge eating. And then the other side of binge eating, whenever you overeat, and an overeat is different than a binge. If you're an overeater, you tend to have a meal. The meal is prepared. You're excited for the meal, right? And then you get like to a point on a hunger scale that's like a 7 or an 8, and you're definitely satisfied. You don't need more food. And then you just keep eating. You keep eating, and you wonder why you're like 20 pounds overweight, because you just don't know when to stop eating. You can't figure out how to push your plate away, put your fork down. And I mean, what I want to say is that this is the Love It to Lose It show. This is where we talk about all things food, sex, and dirty little secrets that hold you back from living the life that you love in a body that you love. And that's a dirty little secret. That's a block. That's a sabotaging behavior of not being able to push your food away. It's different than binging. Binging is a whole other type of block. Binge eating has a couple of things that it includes. One, it's a sense of you're not in control. It's a sense of secrecy. It's a sense of you've let yourself go. A lot of my clients describe it as they immediately just like, you know what? Fuck it. They flip up their finger and they say, fuck it. And then it's just hog heaven from there. It's often secret. And I think what I was trying to explain earlier, and I got a little sidetracked in my brain, is that there's a lot of secrecy around it, and there's a lot of shame around it. Like when you do it, as soon as it's over, it's like the level of berating yourself and being angry and putting yourself down, calling yourself worthless, calling yourself stupid, all the things, all that really like evil, bitchy part of us that comes out. That's also a big part of binge eating. And I just remember that a lot. And that was so painful. It was so painful. But I just remember not being able really like how to help. Like, you know, back in the day, the only thing I knew was, man, I guess we just need more willpower. We've got to just buckle down. We've got to get our eating plan down. We've got to force ourselves. And this is what I'm sure I used to teach. I don't remember. God, I hope I didn't used to do that. Hey, Jenny, let me say hi to Jenny. Love that Kim is here. Hey, Kim, good to see you. Nicole in the house. Lindsay in the house. Nice to see you all on a Friday afternoon, at least where I'm at. So here's my point, is that we have an $80 billion weight loss industry, $80 billion, y'all, and they really try to get you to believe that the way to the way to the other side is follow a diet plan, willpower, grin and bear it. Nike tells us to just do it. What's your problem? And then you can't just do it. How shitty do you feel, right? So this is a real thing. So again, binge eating is a sense of not being in control of what's going on. And there's in the DSM, if you're a therapist, you look at the DSM, that's one of the criteria in the DSM for binge eating disorder. But there's ways out. But I promise you, willpower is not the answer. Discipline is not the answer. The quick fix diets are not the answer. Those are bullshit. What those are bandaids. They're bandaids that you're putting over a gaping wound. I've been saying this forever. It's a bandaid you're putting over a gaping wound. There's a wound that is there that needs healing, and a bandaid ain't gonna cut it. It's like if you got hit with a gun, right? And there's a maybe not in the heart, but like in the arm or something, and there's a freaking bullet in your arm and you try to put a Band-Aid over it. You've actually got to figure out how to remove the bullet, dude. You got to clean it out. You got to put on some antiseptic or something like that, right? And then you can stitch it and heal it and put a Band-Aid, right? But it's like, this is such a beautiful analogy, because if you're trying to change your body, you're trying to stop overeating, you're trying to stop binge eating, there's a bullet inside of your body, like a not a literal bullet, but an energetic, a spiritual bullet, that an emotional bullet that is just lodged in your body, so to speak. And what you need to do is like get there. You need to figure out how to come to it. How do we move it? How do we process it? How do we remove it? How do we clean this out? Right? And then when you do that, let me tell you what works. Band-Aids work, right? Band-Aids work then. And a Band-Aid is like exercise, and a Band-Aid's a food plan. Like those are Band-Aids, right? But we've got to get that bullet out of there. So I just really empathize, because back in the day, man, I didn't know, and I was struggling with it too. And I went on a freaking journey, y'all. I mean, so much so that I sold my fitness company. I just want you to hear me. So much of a journey that I was like, fuck owning a fitness company, because like, if all people are doing is coming to me for a Band-Aid and then they lose some weight, because I know how to use Band-Aids. Like I'm like a Band-Aid pro. I've been doing this shit since I was 18 in the fitness industry and in the nutrition world and holistic nutrition and eating psychology. But the ultimate thing is like, I'm just like, forget it. Like I'm watching my clients lose weight and gain weight and then like get really excited and then fall off the face of the planet. I'm like, this isn't worth it to me. This doesn't make me feel good about what I'm doing on the planet. It actually didn't work for me. And so I sold it, and I'm like, I got to figure some shit out. And boy, have I been figuring some shit out. So I know that I struggled with food and body for a long time, and I'm happy that I struggled with food and body for a long time. I think it makes me, because it's not just like the science of it now and the understanding of how to get to the other side, because there's a lot of work I've done and work that I do with my clients inside of the Love It to Lose It program, the Love It to Lose It method, with my private clients and even in my membership. But I know it because not just because I've studied this my whole life, but I've experienced it. I know what it's like to just feel out of control. And so what I learned is that the real way to stop binge eating is that we need to stop externalizing an internal problem. So we need to stop looking outside of ourselves for the answers. And because the stuff is, there's a missing, gaping piece, there's a wounded piece, there's a bullet in our body that is it's an internal journey. It's an internal. We've got to be willing to go inside. We've got to be willing to look inside, y'all. So this is a big, important part for you to hear, because the more you put emphasis on your eating plan, the more you put emphasis on going on a diet, the more you say that you know that workout's going to fix everything, it's just not going to be the answer. Promise you, it's not going to be the answer. So what you do need to do is address that gaping wound. You need to go and look at the core issues of what is creating the binge eating. What stress are you under? Are you lonely? Are you tired? Are you sad? Where are you struggling? Are your relationships not working? Are you unhappy with your career? What's going on with your finances? Like, what are the other parts of your world that just aren't working? Okay? And more than anything, because we can have all those things happen in our life. We can be struggling in our relationships. We can be struggling with our finances. We can be struggling, with getting sleep or a career, or whatever the things we might be struggling with. We can struggle with those and still not binge eat. Okay? So the trick is when we're looking at these core issues, we're talking about connecting back into your own body. We're talking about getting in connection with your body. Y'all, you have to feel it if you want to heal it. If you want to keep numbing out, that's what binge eating ultimately is, then you're not going to really heal it. You're not going to heal it. You've got to feel it to heal it. And inside of my Love It to Lose It method, I have my emotional mastery program. And my emotional mastery program is powerful because we talk about all the ways that you go specifically into your body. This is a somatic experience. And that means that it's not all a bunch of talk, right? Talk is cheap. We've got to go in and feel the feelings that we feel in our body. And some of us are so numbed out that we can't even feel the feelings that we're feeling in our body. It's so interesting because I've been surrounded by binge eating lately. Like, I've had colleagues of mine who are coaching in the realms of love, sex, and relationship, but they don't really have experience working with clients at Binge Eat. And so they're reaching out and going like, oh my God, what do I do? I'm trying to get her to do a cool, connected sexuality practice, but she's freaking out. I'm like, well, of course she's freaking out. Like, she's binge eating. She's got like other shit she's got to deal with first before we can talk about breast massage, But anyhow, that is neither here nor there. And clients and other people in my world that I know that are talking about binge eating right now. And it just I don't know why, it just all came over the last 48 hours. And I just knew we had to cover this today. So you need to address your core issues. You need to connect back into your body. You need to feel it in order to heal it. And as usual, this is my Love It to Lose It system. If you want to lose it, if you want to lose the binge eating, you have got to love it. This is about coming into right relationship with all the parts of you, because it's a part of you. If you are binge eating and you're using this as a coping mechanism, it's actually a part of you. There has to be another part of you that can accept it, that can empathize, that can feel compassion for that part that's doing it, that can essentially soften the heart. And as opposed to, I fucking hate this so much, I wish you could just throw it away. Bah! Y'all, that just doesn't work. It never works. I used the most amazing analogy with a client, and I love this, and I'm not giving anything away when I say this, but this is a great, great analogy. We were working, and we found a part in her that she just fucking hates. Like, she just hates this. She wants it gone. And she's like, I wish I could just throw it in jail. It needs to be boxed in jail. I hate this part, right? And so, and it's like, we'll call it a binge eating part. That's not what we were talking, but it would be like binge eating. This is her in her binge eating moment, and she wished she could just throw it in jail. But I want you all to think about this. Just think about this. And I live in a state that's not awesome when it comes to rehabilitating people. But there have been a lot of studies that show the people that we throw in jail, let's talk about like the real people that do bad shit. Like, they do bad shit. Like, the part of you that's binge eating, it's doing bad shit for you, isn't it? It's like really doing some shitty stuff for you. It's not good. Like, I get why you hate it. I hated it too, right? So we throw it in jail, like we throw the bad people in our society in jail, okay? If that person just stays in jail, nothing changes, right? What happens? They get parole and they end up right back in jail, right? So like putting them in jail and forgetting about them is actually not the answer. But there have been so many programs and studies out there that have gone into jails, gone into these people who were kind of mean, who did bad, shitty things on this planet, and they rehabilitated them. They started giving them yoga classes. They started giving them mindfulness meditation classes. So now they're able to come into a better relationship. They start feeding them a better diet, so they're having higher levels of omega-3s, higher levels of healthy fatty acids, which has been correlated and proven to reduce aggression, to reduce that kind of level of just like of wanting to like fight and aggression and ADD, that kind of type of personality. So they're feeding them better food. People are doing yoga. They're like learning meditation from like meditation teachers that are going in there. And they have like group therapy classes where they have people coming in that see them as a human. Yes, they did bad shit, but they also are a human who deserves like worthiness. Like we all deserve worthiness. They deserve to just know that like they're okay just the way they are, because probably they've been taught that they're no good for their whole lives, which is what brought them to that situation. So much research shows when you rehabilitate at that level, guess what happens to that prisoner? He or she thrives, changes their whole life. It's so powerful. And this is the same thing with the part of you that binge eats. The part of you that binge eats does not need to be thrown in jail. This part needs acceptance, love, nurturance. Nurturance, is that a word? Yeah, I just said it, but I know that's not a word. Compassion, empathy, all of the things. And then there needs to be some healing processes and programs. So this is what I do. This is what we do in the Love It to Lose It system. So for you to understand that this is the ticket. This is the ticket. We've got to be able to go deeper. And you're not going to go deeper by thinking that your workout program or your new latest diet plan is gonna fucking do it. It's just not gonna do it, I promise. There's something that's a little bit more core that needs some love and needs some help there, okay? And so it's like rehabilitating that. That prisoner. We don't need to throw it in jail. We need to love it. And so I say this all the time. I say what we resist persists. That's kind of like taking that binge eating part of you that you don't like and just throwing it in jail, right? And you keep pushing it away. You feel a certain thing. It feels really uncomfortable. And what do? You push it away. And how do you push it away? We go numb out with food. How do we push away? We go binge eat, right? So like, right? What we resist persists over and over and over and over again. What we resist persists. But what we accept, I always forget it, but what we accept, actually, I remember the whole thing together, but when I try to break it down, I always forget. What we resist persists. What we accept heals. So just by you coming into right relationship, and instead of wanting to push away the bad feelings, you learn how to have a greater capacity to feel the feelings, learning how to feel your things. If your capacity is here, we want to just go like that. Now, what I want to tell you is when we try to feel it way up here too fast or way down here too fast, it'll kick us out. Let me say hi to Trisha. Hey, girl, good to see you. It'll kick us out. And we go start to numb out. We just numb, and that's not helpful. But if we can start to feel it a little bit right there, and we're able to just be like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I can feel this. I can stick with this. And it's okay that it's here. That's the whole point. By trying to push it away and numb out, you're essentially saying, I'm resisting this, and it will keep persisting. Think about it. Think about a toddler that's like, I don't know. I don't have toddlers. But like imagine like a 4-year-old, I'm guessing, maybe a 4-year-old. The 4-year-olds throw temper tantrums, y'all. For anybody that's here that has kids, the 4-year-olds throw temper tantrums. Because I'm thinking maybe they're 3 or 2 when they throw temper. I don't know. But think of like some small child. God, I hate when I do that. Silly just tangents about nothing. You have a small child who's throwing a temper tantrum, right? And the parent turns around, walks away, and goes into another room. What do you think that child is going to do? Lose his or her shit even more. It's going to turn into crazy. Why? Because just like going away, generally, I'm guessing, I don't have kids, I think I might be right, it doesn't fix the situation, right? If you, and even if that is the answer, which I can't imagine that being the answer, like literally what you've resisted is now persisting and like amplifying, right? To like crazy, insane levels of screaming, right? So what you resist persists, but what you accept starts to transform. So if you look at the binge eating, whenever you start to be able to feel your feelings a little bit more, instead of resisting the feelings, you're able to go in and go, I'm just going to stick with this for a little bit longer. Before I go away, before I push it away, before I get angry, before I judge myself for binge eating, I'm just going to be with the fact that I just had a binge eating episode, and I'm going to be with all the feelings that are really hard, that hurt, and I'm going to just learn that it's okay. This is a part of me. It's what I'm going through right now. I'm not going to go through it forever, but I'm going to be going through it for now, right? And that's just what that's like. Neither here nor there. That is what is happening, right? That is the first step to transform. It is literally the first step to transformation. Stop resisting, learn to accept. Now, if what we resist persists and what we accept starts to heal, what we love transforms. What we love transforms. That is the ultimate transformation that we are looking for. And this is why my method is called Love It to Lose It. Because you know you got a bunch of shit you want to lose. You want to lose the binge eating. You want to lose the this. You want to lose the that. You want to lose the weight, right? You want to lose the behaviors. You want to lose the obsession in your head, right? You got to love it. I mean, ultimately, it comes down to love. And I know it's hard to go from here to here, because that's what I'm saying. If you want to lose it because you're like, that's where you are, like, get this off of me, get this weight off of me, get this crap, then you got to love it. You're like, screw you with the love. But I promise there's baby steps in between, and that's what we do in the Love It to Lose It lifestyle program. That's what we do in the challenge, all sorts of stuff right there. So let's just get back to binge eating so that when we make sure I can give you guys some tangible stuff here, is that for binge eating, I need you to hear me. It's not like some of us think it's somebody going through the drive-in and getting like 8 bags of junk food and 4 milkshakes, and then all of a sudden they kind of like wake up out of a daze, and then they look down, and the only way that they realize that they did that is because they have the receipts in their hand. Now, that is binge eating. I don't want to say that that's not binge eating. That's definitely like what binge eating can be like. But it can also be like you are full on, that you're full on in your home and you're anxious and you don't know what's going on, and then you're going back and forth in the cupboard. Handful of this, handful of that, handful of this, handful of that, handful of this, back and forth. You're kind of conscious, but you're not. You kind of already said, fuck it, and I'm just going to keep doing this back and forth. And that's also a binge. For some people, a binge can be this moment where they grab like a handful of Oreos. So maybe in their hand there's like 6 Oreos, and they just like, they eat the Oreos. The point is it doesn't matter how much you have when you're inside of a binge process. What matters is what's going on inside of you. The kind of like going blank, the going numb, the thoughtfulness of, fuck it, I don't care, and then you just go for it, right? That's the characteristic of a binge. It doesn't mean that you eat this amount of food or this amount of food or this amount of food, right? It's what's going on inside of you, the behavior of kind of going away. And then when you come to, when it's all over and you realize what you've done, there's a wash of shame and anxiety, where there's a giant like beat yourself up kind of a thing, right? And so the first thing I want to say is that one of the first things you want to do is stop beating yourself up. As soon as it's over and you come to, what you need is like massive self-care in this moment. Like you need serious like love and self-care. Like self-care like crazy, y'all. Like crazy self-care. I hate when my phone goes weird. Where's my phone going weird? There it goes. So that's what you need. And I want you guys to think about self-care. Self-care. Lots of self-care. Love, bubble baths, journaling, crying, calling a friend, not making it a secret, joining Love It to Lose It lifestyle, because like, hello, we can like work through this stuff. This is what we do there. Part of what we do there. You need to self-care. Now, what I want to say is that whenever you overeat or binge, and then you do something afterwards to try to compensate for the excess calories that you've had, that's called bulimia. That's a whole different thing. And now you don't have to just puke to be considered going through the process of bulimia. This is not it. Sometimes, most of us, yes, we see somebody eats a lot of food, they go into the bathroom, they puke. That's a big fucking problem. That is definitely bulimia. But guess what else is bulimia? using diuretics, using stool softeners, like using laxatives and stuff like that. Guess what else is bulimia? Binging and overeating, and then going and massively exercising to compensate for the calories. Guess what else is binge eating? Doing your binge eating thing, like the big giant binge, and then somehow calculating out and starving yourself and not eating at all or hardly eating at all for like a day or 2 or 3, because this is how you start to make up for the binge that you just had. So Kim says, let me put this back up. Kim says, wow, I was just there. It's amazing when you're thinking you're the only person who does this. Oh yeah, you're so not alone, babe. And this is something wrong with you. And that's the other thing. Thank you for saying that in a huge way, Kim, because the other thing we do is we like put it all on ourselves. We're like, oh my God, it's all my shit, nobody else does this. And then when you really think nobody else does this, which is bullshit, everybody does it. The difference is like my men out there that like just fucking go, rah. I bet Clark knows this. Hey Clark, do you ever just eat like crazy and you just like, rah, bring it in? Like my men that do that, they don't usually give a shit at the end of it. They're like, yeah, I'm a little full. Probably ate too much, whatever. Where women, you know, especially if we're trying to lose weight, especially if we're trying to feel good, or we like lose it. The level of shame, the level of defeatedness, the level of, think about what it feels like when you do something and you literally think you're the only one that suffers from this. It's like the sense of something is truly wrong with me. And it's so not true. It's so fucking not true. It's so not true. I think I still binge occasionally. The level at which I do it is nothing like what I was dealing with back in the day. And I notice my binges, just to share with you, will be, I'll notice because I'll go into like secrecy mode because I live with my partner and his 2 teenagers are here. And also the other thing that I want to talk to all the mamas out there that have kids, I've never really understood because I don't have children of my own, and I like only keep food in the house that I know that like I can keep in the house. Like I know that I shouldn't keep cookies in my house because that's not necessarily a good thing for me. Even today, even years later, I'm not going to keep bags of cookies in my house, y'all. But now having 2 teenagers in my world and having the shit that they eat, it has been a journey to get to a place where I'm completely neutral with the shit. Now I like have all their shit like up on the top shelf. So even though they're shorter than me, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Get on a stool and get your stuff and keep it up there. I don't want it in eyesight for me in the pantry. And so that's one thing. Let me see anything else here. So that's an example. But no, my binges now, it's been, if there's a level of secrecy where I have this kind of thing where I want food and I'll feel it like an obsession come on. And I'm at this point in my journey, I'm super aware of all this, like super, super aware. And then I'll start to do it and I'll do it. And it'll usually be like to the pantry and back a couple of times. But it's never like if my amount was here and the range of emotions and the range of pain, it's like so minimal now. And it doesn't happen too often because I've done a metric shit ton of inner work, y'all. It's a lot of like inner work. It's a lot of being able to touch the wounds. And you don't touch them. The deeper the wound, which means the deeper the trauma that you've dealt with, the deeper the wound, the deeper the trauma, the more you want to be gentle. Just the further you have to go. It's not like you can't get there. You can get there. One of my closest mentors, who I look up to so much, lives this life of fucking thriving. And she was sexually molested by her father for years, like her biological father, for years and years and years. And the level of thriving that she has with her business, with her partner, with her friends, with her life. It's so beautiful. My point is we can get there. Every single one of us, there are ways in which we can heal trauma, okay? But the deeper the wounds, just the longer it takes. She spent a real solid decade in a space of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to the other side. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to the other side. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to the other side. And honestly, all of us should do that, no matter how deep our wounds are or how shallow our wounds are. So many of us that maybe we're like, well, gosh, that's so intense. I mean, I didn't get sexually molested when I was a kid, so, my shit doesn't matter. Yeah, your shit matters, dude. Your shit actually matters. And it might not be as deep of a wound, but it's still trauma. And if you're not willing to do it, you're going to keep all these sabotaging blocks going to get in the way. Binge eating's going to get in the way. Whatever the thing is that you do, whether it's alcohol, whether it's binge eating, whether it's jacking up your credit cards, shopping, whether it's blaming everybody else and being all like freaking codependent in your relationships, like whatever it might be, the ways in which you don't like the way your life are going, it's going to keep going that way if we don't learn how to start to heal at a core place. Heal like core. We got to get that bullet out. And again, the deeper the wounds, it just means that we're more gentle with the nervous system. So the way that we work in Love It to Lose It lifestyle, my Love It to Lose It system, is we go somatically through the body. So we use a lot of breath work. We use a lot of touch. We use a lot of visualization with all of this. We go into the sensations of the body. And the cool part about this is that your body, whenever we use our bodies like as a natural way to go in, especially with breath work as an example, your nervous system will only let you go as far as it thinks you're ready to go in order to heal. So, if it doesn't think if it doesn't feel safe enough to do, like if let's say you went in this far, but you want to go in this far, right? But your nervous system is like, I don't think she's ready for that. And so it won't let you. It'll stop right here. It'll be like, nope, this is as far as we're going today. And you went somewhere. Maybe you didn't get as far as you wanted, but it doesn't matter what you want. It matters what's going on in your unconscious and subconscious nervous system. It matters if it feels that you're safe enough to do it. There's another client that shared that she was going through major financial struggles and like so much stress. And then as soon as she got everything kind of check marked and did all the things she needed to do and pow, 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 and just fixed a lot of things, the level of like energy shift she had, but not just that, at that point, she was able to do the things that she needs to do, like taking better care of herself, self-care. And this is so important to hear because whenever you think like when your nervous system, and money's a big one, when your nervous system thinks you're going to die, that you don't have, like think about the basic levels. Like we need safety first. Safety. That's like food, shelter, clothing, dude. Safety. And if you're having such financial struggles where you're scared about like your house, where am I going to live, right? That is a pure like subconscious, unconscious back of the brain going like, not safe, not safe, not safe, not safe, not safe, right? So ultimately, this work that we do helps to train your nervous system that you're safe enough. You're safe enough to let go of these wounds. You're safe enough to feel these old feelings. And I know it sounds crazy maybe for some of you, but this is how we heal. This is how binge eating stops. This is how binge eating, like it goes away. Overeating, binge eating, these behaviors start to stop. So, that's what I have for you. Happy Friday, y'all. It's Friday. Go enjoy the things you want to enjoy. Find something that's wonderful for yourself this weekend. Do something to really nurture yourself. And if that includes a great meal, and let it be a great meal. If that includes dessert, let it include dessert. But do it from a place that feels like it's life-giving. How can you give yourself more life and more love this weekend, right? This Friday, so that way you can start to relax a little into your life and see what happens with the binging. And if you're still binge eating, you need to send me a message. Send me a DM and pop it in my little FB messenger and I'll get back to you. We'll talk about it because it's pretty powerful stuff and it's important work that we all need to realize that we're not alone. I don't know hardly anybody that doesn't binge, at least occasionally. And we can get to the other side, y'all. We can get to the other side. Okay. Mwah. I will see y'all on the upside. See you next time. Bye.